Hey Ben,
Hey, how are you?
pretty good. How about you?
I'm pretty good. I can't swear I can make it every Monday, but I'll do the best I can.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you hosting these and putting them together.
Yeah.
Um, because I find that I learn a little bit every time I join these types of things. And as you know, when you're practicing by yourself, having resources and stuff is incredibly helpful.
Yes, indeed. Um, it it feels so alone.
Yeah,
When you're working in someone else's business, even if you're the founder of the business. Well, as the founder of the business, it gets lonely too. But once you're just an employee and you're working in, you've got the team of people. Even if
right,
you're the only person doing the thing, you
right.
still got a team of people and there's stuff going on and there's stuff coming in and you have this team to lean on. And when you're working alone, that all goes away. But even when you're working with a client, you can't take this part, the business part, and cross it over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
And I'm still fairly new. I haven't been doing it for a year yet. I'm only about 7 months into it.
yeah.
But I'll tell you, I don't regret doing what I did. I would probably regret not doing it 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
But it's not where I want it to be, but it's slowly picking up.
That's good. That's good. Uh,
Yeah.
it, Getting started is either hard or easy. I don't know. It's one of those, like, some people, they get started either intentionally or accidentally and their network brings them work and they start, kick it off and then they fall down because they that initial support system
It
eventually
it
exhausts.
becomes too easy. I think they lose their hunger, if you know,
Right,
they come out of the box with whatever, 3, 4, 5 clients. They think this shit's easy. I don't have to market. I don't have to network. I don't have to, and then for
right,
whatever reason, if you lose 2 of those clients for whatever reason,
yeah,
then it's like, shit.
right. What do I do now?
I
uh
mean, you already tapped your 4, 5 friends and they gave you whatever they could
at
give you.
least
Now it's like,
at least then you hopefully, well, and of course oftentimes those early clients you didn't charge enough. You felt okay. You were making
you
you
wanna
felt
get
like
those.
you were making
I
a
did
dent.
that. I'll be honest, I did that. First couple I got was just to get the snowball rolling down the hill.
Right. And that's okay. Just do it, just as long as you recognize that that's what you're doing, right?
Yes.
I need to
Yes.
figure out how this works. I need to get some customers to practice
You
on.
need some
All right,
credibility.
customers who may be out there, we're
I
always
needed
practicing.
credibility. I needed someone they could call as a reference, and to be fair, I said, "You know what? These guys are rolling their dice with me. I wanna show
Yeah,
my appreciation," you know?
yeah. I took some pro bono clients that way, right? Like, I'm like, I know these guys can't afford to pay me. I mean, I can tell these guys can't afford to pay me, like somebody who invested all of $20,000 in getting a piece of software built. Right? I'm like, well, they're not going to pay me $5,000, $10,000 a month to
Right.
fix their stuff. They're only $20,000 in this, and they're going, "Oh my god, we're losing our investment." I'm like,
Yeah.
let me spend a week looking at it and see if we can turn it around, or at least let you understand where it is and and where you might want to go from it. And they decided eventually to shut it down. Um, but
Well, I'm doing work with a startup right now, and I don't charge them a lot. Now, to be fair, I don't do a lot, but, um, I like the people, and some relationships I have from that startup have given me other business.
perfect.
So, I'm sorta like, it's
Yeah,
fine. I don't do a lot. I'm willing to work with them, and at the end of the day, they're nice people,
right.
and, so
As long as the relationship works for both of you,
it's a
it's
win.
fine.
It's a win.
Yeah. And
But I
then,
can also,
what
yeah.
happens though if you start out with that ramp up of clients, suddenly, you turn on the funnel, the funnel, and it's just a hose, and you're like, "Oh, I got all this work." And of course you have to turn some of it away, and then you start losing some of it, and you don't know how you got that. So you don't know what it was that really brought you there, and then you're now in that trough and we have these cycles, and this is something everyone has to remember. There is always a cycle, right? There's the highs and the lows.
One thing I've learned is you never stop networking and marketing. Even if you're at 100% capacity, find the time every week to keep
Right,
your name out there because at any moment, for whatever reason, a client could just stop using you.
right. One of the things I really push is to people to redefine what 100% means,
Right.
because when they say, "Oh, I'm 100% capacity. I'm at 40 or I'm at 60 hours a week working for clients." Like, well, what are you doing the rest of your business? If you're an 80-hour a week 100% person, okay, fine. You've got 40 hours a week of client time and you still got another 40 hours a week for the business. Great.
Right.
I'll argue that maybe you're not getting your best work done for somebody here, but if that's you, if that's your personality type, that's fine. But if I can get 40, 50 hours a week or 30 hours a week or 20 hours a week, if that's where you are in your life, then we need to make sure we fit in biz dev and work within that 100%.
Right. Right. And I've also found that I have to put biz dev on my calendar or it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do this, but something else I do for myself is I actually quantify, reach out to 15 people today.
It's a good thing to do.
And it's for me, it's not just reach out to people because that's an open-ended.
Right. Yes.
So if I say reach out to 15, I will do my best not to leave my desk till I've reached out to 15. And if that could be sometimes people I know, an attorney or a banker, but I'm reaching out to my center. It could be new people on LinkedIn. Do you use LinkedIn Navigator?
I do. Well, I know I don't. I spent some time with LinkedIn Navigator, and I don't anymore. It didn't give me any value.
I'll be honest with you. So I signed up for it and I'm new to this stuff and I don't have by any stretch. So I'm like, I'm playing with it one day. I'm like, all right, I did the lead filters and I came up with names and I picked 5, literally just 5. And I'm like, all right, let me practice some
Good.
DM. Just I'm learning it. All right,
Yep.
how to and god damn it, I got one person emailed me back, your timing's perfect. I had a Zoom call. I'm trying to set up the in-person meeting probably this week. I'm like, shit. But I know that's dumb luck. I realize that I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
get a
arguably,
20%.
it's
I'm
luck.
not gonna get a 20% return every time I send them.
Right.
I'm not
Right.
naive, but I was like, that's I yes, that's the first
So make
I'm
sure you
buying.
record what you sent. Right. Put that in your. This was successful at least one time. Right. It's like this is what I said. Exactly what I said. Because you might want to refer back to that, and if you have to chase it down to LinkedIn
Yeah,
sometime.
no, that's a good point. I said, "This is the first time I've done anything on the computer, social media-wise, Slack, where it's actually led to a client where I had no other relationship of any kind with."
Right. Because even if that same message never wins you another client, it's like that first dollar bill, right?
Yeah,
Put it on your wall.
yeah,
That one worked. And
yeah,
you may find that reusing it works.
yeah.
Or think about, you can look at it and figure out what was it about that piece of outreach? What was it about that one
Honestly,
client or what?
I think it was 100% pie in the sky, dumb luck that the need was there at the exact time she got the message.
It could be. I mean, but it's also why we just keep doing it because
Right.
sometimes it literally is I just got off the phone with somebody and, my CFO just quit and your message pops up.
Yes. No, it was 100% dumb luck. That's what she told me.
Hey, Diego.
It was,
No, Jorge.
it was
Good.
100% dumb luck. But then I said, "You know what? You never know when you gotta just keep sending them out because there could be another dumb luck client out there."
That's it. That's it.
So I was
Um,
kinda
so we were just talking about, that finding your first client, finding your next client and how you get there. Um, what have you been doing what have you done since our last call, Diego? Anything good?
Oh yeah, mostly learning new things. I am working in a couple of projects in the food manufacturing industry here in Latin America. The other one in the hospitality industry,
Okay.
helping in some startups. But mostly learning new things. I've
Right.
been I've been focused on DevOps and cloud for a long time, and I am learning things outside of that world.
Gotcha.
So they said that's what I've been doing. But yeah. And I agree with you that yeah, getting your first client, your next client, and the next one, and the next one, it's a science. Uh, it's been frustrating to me. I've been running my own agency for like 10 years, so I felt the pain
Right.
for a long time.
How much, I mean, have you felt that the the outreach networking biz dev side of the agency, have you felt that crossed over easily to being solo? Or do you find that like you're reaching out to the wrong clients?
Say it again. What do you mean?
So-
Solo, I mean,
So, all the biz dev that you learned how to do running the
yeah.
agency, the types of companies, the way you made the approach, all of the things. Do you find that works as a soloist so far?
Okay.
Or do you need a different way to do it?
No, the thing is, I haven't been outreaching much
Okay.
for my solo business yet, because these projects I've been working on the last weeks, they came from my network.
Right.
So yeah, I know maybe next year I'm going to start looking for clients more actively.
Okay.
Uh,
But at least you know from experience that, and remember though, when you're not selling the team, you're selling yourself. You have to figure out that, that balance and still keep doing it. So I would highly recommend you at least low level once a week, do something, right? Just to keep the habit in place. Even if you don't have anything to sell, make contacts.
yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I should start doing something, at least I know writing. But I am not very good on that, definitely. But maybe I should put something on the calendar, at least I know 1 hour every week, just to force myself. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Find your opinion. Find what it is that the thing that makes you, right? With whatever space you're targeting, whatever industry you're targeting, think about what you care about and what you get passionate about. What's going to make you kind of lean forward and start pushing on it and say, no, you need to do this. You need to do this. You need to make this change, right? If there's something you care about, then you can write about that. And you have the drive to write about it if it's something you care about.
Yeah, I understand, and yeah, I need to create the habit.
Yeah.
To that.
And, a lot of times, I mean, I find that the counter opinion, right? So if everyone's still preaching agile and saying, oh, well, you need to hire an agile coach. And I'm like, hell no, I'm anti-agile. What does that mean? Let's find out.
Okay, yeah, yes, but also about writing. The thing is, everyone is trying to do the same. Everyone is saying when you read about generating leads, is let's write on social network, write articles, webinars. So everyone doing the same. So I've
This
been
is
thinking the
true.
last weeks how I mean how to differentiate myself in the way of marketing my services. I mean, not in the publications, in the post themselves. In okay, what can we do different to
Right.
promote our services? Maybe,
One thing that we
writing.
can do different is still be here. If we
Yeah.
put out content and a year later we're still here, that alone might set us apart from someone else. Because there's a lot of people we see a lot of people who publish a little bit of content, they say a couple of things, and then next thing you know, they're a full-time employee somewhere and they're not doing that anymore. So the long tail of it, because content is a long tail, right? Whether it's recordings on YouTube or social media posts or on your own website, it's all long tail.
Yeah.
It's then if you have that backlog of it, so you say, okay, I've been doing it just once a month for 12 months, and a year down the road, you've got 12 articles that you wrote, 12 opinions, strong opinions that you wrote about. Then when somebody sees you and looks back, you're doing outreach a year from now, and they look back and see it's not just Diego today, it's Diego having this opinion for a year, right?
Yeah.
That helps them to build trust, even if they never saw it before. And now they have the opportunity to go and look back and say, oh, these are things, and then you might even have evolved your feelings over that time. But even if it's just once per month, at least that's a corpus, right? That's something to work with. And a place that you can think about, what do you do with that? And it is practice. It takes practice, right? This comes naturally for some people, but not most of us. So Every time we do it, it's practice and figure out what works, how you can improve it for you.
Yeah. Definitely, it's a long-term game, because maybe you write for a year and you see no leads, and you say, okay, this is not working. It doesn't make any sense. But something that happened to me is, leads that came to my agency for a post that I wrote 5 years ago.
Right.
Or maybe I am in a conversation. I was in a conversation with a client, and an article that I wrote a long time ago helped me to close the lead, about the reputation that
Yep,
you said
exactly.
is.
Yes.
You wrote about Kubernetes a year ago, doing blah blah blah. Okay, okay.
And now you're talking to that client who's like, we need Kubernetes doing this in this way. And you're like, hey, I wrote about that last year, or I wrote about
Yeah.
5 years ago. And they're like, oh, wait, you did? Send us the link. And they look at it and they're like, oh, wow, you
Yeah.
really do know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest contract that we closed for our agency was about Kubernetes for a company that was acquired by DigitalOcean, a company called Cloudways.
Okay.
We built all the platform in Kubernetes, very, very complex. And that lead arrived to the agency because an article I wrote years ago.
Which is why you should be writing something now too, for you.
Yeah, definitely. It's the motivation. Yeah.
and again, like it could, like Ben was saying, he did some outreach on LinkedIn Navigator, and just by luck or the fact they did it, happened to land in someone's inbox at the right moment and turned into a project, right? Turned into a paid gig. One little piece. And so you do the same thing with your piece of content. You might post that content and it lands just at the right time for somebody, but maybe it doesn't. And it takes a year, it takes 5 years, but it's still worth doing because eventually, right?
What's the old adage? I know half my marketing works. I just don't know which half.
Right. Wish half my marketing worked. Oh, that is the hardest part of this job. I was just on a thing with Jonathan Stark. He's working on a positioning course but he mentioned a thing from David C. Baker about the size of your niche, your market, right? And that particularly as a soloist, when we think about the size of our market and, we start to say, okay, I help these types of companies, right? We only want between like 10 and 20, 2,000 and 10,000 companies or customers in that market, right? And we should probably only be competing with maybe 10 or less than other 10 people who are also competing for that specific market, right? So if Ben is focusing on a specific niche of companies that need, let's say he's doing CFO for landscaping companies, I don't know. Then you can't just be landscaping companies. It needs to be landscaping companies in London or landscaping companies in, the suburb outside of or wherever. That's one way to focus it down, but you need to be able to focus it down. And the things I've seen is that when I start to drill that market focus down, it means my search results become useful, right? When I search and I get 100,000, 200,000 results, and I'm like, well, that wasn't very good. I mean, I can just start picking off the top, but I know I'm not very focused. But if you can drill that down to, it's only 2,000 to 10,000, I can reach out to 10% of those. I can feel comfortable making even a 50% market penetration over a couple of years where I've tried to engage in conversation, right? And I can't do that with the boiling the digital ocean. But it was interesting to hear that some actual kind of stats about that, like your minimum market size of like 2,000. You really need like 2,000 people in that minimum market, and then but really top end is like 10,000. So yeah. Ben, have you done any kind of narrowing down, or are you still?
Well, the biggest challenge that I've had so I don't remember what I shared last time, but I was in public accounting for 25 years.
Right.
So I was a partner in a CPA firm for 17 years, multi-office, whatever. I left it, got burnt out, didn't want to do it anymore. And the biggest just adjustment I've had to adjust to, and a friend of mine woke me up to it 3 or 4 months ago, and it really hit me, is the sales cycle and what I do now is longer than when I was in public accounting. And let me tell you why. If I met with your company, David, a year ago, 2 years ago, you were hiring me to do a tax return or prepare a financial statement. You had a triggering event. You had to hire someone, whether it's me or someone else. You had to hire someone right away because we have a tax deadline and I need my stuff done. I don't have a triggering event that says you hire me today or hire me next Monday. It doesn't really make a difference. It does, but it doesn't, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So the sales cycle is longer. I just closed a client last week that I started 3 months ago. And I thought they ghosted me for a while. And I was like, what's going on?
Like,
Just,
I've found that
and life events got in the way. The owner, mother died, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. And so I've learned that the sales cycle is longer. Just keep nurturing them. Don't annoy them, but just poke them once a month, once every 6 weeks. Hey, I'm out here.
Yep.
And
and
you get a firm, no, I'm not interested, but don't bother me.
that one.
Keep them on your Rolodexes. Periodically send a friendly email of
Silence is not no.
I just haven't gotten to yes.
Exactly. Yes.
And so
it
I've
feels
learned
it feels like I mean, I know myself, when I do that, it feels like I'm being annoying, I'm being spammy, I'm over messaging them. But unless they come back and say, no, we're not interested, then they haven't said no yet. And
so far, every time I've sent a tickler, like a month later, I've gotten some nice emails back from the owners. Like,
yeah,
we can't do it right now. And maybe it's bullshit. I don't know, but it's not a no. And so, to me, it's not a heavy lift to be nice. And it's not a heavy lift to send an email every month or every 6 weeks.
I've found that for myself, it was 6 to 18 months before, generally speaking, from kind of first engagement, first contact, to when we really get to let's actually do something. And then I can sit down and that might have been an early sales conversation that didn't didn't turn into something. And then it's just sitting in the background and I keep following up. But it ends up being more like 18 months. And, and that's, again, for my own data, right?
Right.
So it's not quick. I mean, sometimes you pick up the phone and, you have a conversation. It's like, we need it today. You were the first person to call us. Great.
Right. So I've realized that. So I've had to pivot, and I've also had to pivot on how I sell, and I have to do a better job of extracting their pain and their problem and try to quantify it. So they can see the return on their investment to me. And, so that's all, I guess my point is that's just different. I've had to change the mindset a little bit.
Right.
And, so it's coming along. I mean, I'm not allowed to, because of my agreement, I had to start fresh. I couldn't bring any clients from my firm.
Sure. Right. So as you said you were using LinkedIn Navigator. So have you kind of figured out like what to filter it down to yet?
I'm still learning it. I've literally only sent maybe 6 messages now. I sent one this morning. I'm also a believer in, I don't want to just set up some automated where 500 of them go out, because I get those and I delete them. I don't even read them.
Right.
And I get some that are like, oh, we see you work at an accounting firm. And it's like, you don't even know. I don't work at an accounting firm. So
I get so many software agencies.
So what I'm trying to do is I'm actually trying to
get me to build to hire them to build software for me. And I'm like, I don't build software, guys. I don't have customers who build. My customers are already building software.
I'm trying to make them a little bit more personalized messages, which obviously is more labor intensive, but I could be wrong, but I think there's a greater chance of a hit, even though you might have gone from 3% to 7%. If it's a little more personal as opposed to salesy or spammy or something like that.
Right.
Um, so I'm by no stretch an expert on Sales Navigator. I'm trying to keep it right now close geographically. The
Okay.
client I told you about is not far from me geographically, and we actually had common connections on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
but they're not fake connections in the sense that they're not just people you connected with that you don't really know. It's like we both really know the people.
Yeah, perfect.
I think that helps tremendously with credibility,
Very much so.
especially when you're a stranger off the internet.
Yep.
And then I'm a believer that old fashioned meeting face to face is the best way to sell.
Yeah, if you can,
If you're
yeah.
able to do it, it's the best way to
Right.
sell.
And if you have a physical location that you can target that is accessible to you and that has your target market in it, target audience in it, sure, absolutely do it, right?
I'm in the New York City metropolitan
You're
area.
right. You've got everybody there.
I have enough business in the metro.
Yep.
I don't need 1,000 clients.
Right.
You know,
You can focus in on a burb.
right. So I think, and I am pitching or I'm trying to get clients in other places, but I think I have more than enough in a pool that I can drive to me.
Right. And
And
the
quite frankly, to do my job or what I want to do and how I like to do it, I want to be able to physically go there. Because I just think I can do my job better if I've at least met the people in person. And I think you can build a strong relationship, which hopefully will help you keep the client longer than virtual. Because sometimes I find that I'm with the owners and the senior management talking about the Super Bowl or talking about whatever.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
that
You
personal
won't do
connection
virtually.
really can help. I mean, when it's something that you can do and it's something that your business can do, even if it's traveling to a customer site and spending some time with them, and then doing the rest of it remote. But
Yeah.
do your meet and greet or you do your sales pitch. I don't like to do a sales pitch stage myself unless they're paying for the travel. If they want to fly me in, we'll talk about that, right? But if I'm not going to fly myself in to go meet with a customer until they're paying me money. Um,
I agree, but I will if they're a client in like Tennessee or somewhere that I have to fly to for the right customer. I have no problem going out there
Yeah.
once a year if I
Yeah.
have to,
Right.
and somehow I'll build it into my fee. If they don't, somehow it'll be part of the fee.
Yeah. Yeah. It depends on a lot of things, but if you start the relationship with the expectation, you can set that up front. If you started it without the expectation and it comes up, then you say, hey, you cover the expenses and we'll travel. Um,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
I had a client last year tried to that pushed me to travel for them, and I said, "No, like, this is not part of our relationship, it's not what we're doing, and also, I have other commitments that require me to be here for that week that you want me to come up and meet with your customer.
Right.
I'd love to meet these guys. I know I would enjoy it, but I can't also do the other commitment if I'm up there because I can't focus. When I'm traveling, I can't focus on engineering work.
Right.
I'm stuck in social brain.
Right. 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 No, you're exactly right. And actually, I think I picked up one of these clients because they point blank said, "Do we ever get to meet you? Do you ever come here?" And I said, "The way I typically work is hybrid." And he said, "That's good because every other fractional CFO I've spoken to will only do it remotely."
Right. Yeah. So it makes you stand out.
I said, "I'm a hybrid. I'll do a lot of work at home or in my office, but I will come to your office."
Yeah. That's good. Um, that's cool. I mean, I think that should be maybe that should be part of your marketing material in some fashion. Maybe it should be a part of your opinion when you think about content, right? And say, I find that when I'm working with teams, that being able to get together and have that face-to-face time is so valuable. And here's some examples of why, right? And now, then
Right.
if they're looking through the things you've posted and they see you come to meet with them, that makes you stand out.
Right. No, that's a good point. That's a good point. So what I've done is from a posting standpoint, I try to just find what are the people that my clients, what are the things they worry about?
Yep.
What are their problems?
Right. Have you found a good process for finding that information?
I go to AI and I'll type in,
Okay.
give me 5 flashy slogans that'll go viral, that are edgy with a little humor on monitoring your gross margin.
Okay.
And I'll say, give me a list of 20. And it'll give me 20. And usually in the 20, there's 1 or 2 I like.
Right.
And then I'll say, write me a LinkedIn post on this topic. It writes the LinkedIn post. I take the slogan, I drop it into Canva. And then I just put some blurb above it that AI wrote. Obviously, you have to read it all because
That's the important message here.
But I
Read.
view it as it's an intern that wrote 80% of what I want,
Yep.
and then I just play with the last 10
It's
or
a
15,
draft.
20. And since I've been doing it, it saves me so much time. And I've been getting a lot more hits and a lot more comments on it. Because they're just catchy little visual things from Canva. But then the next question is all bullshit at the end of the day, like you had mentioned before, or does it turn into real business? I don't know. But it's not a heavy lift. I don't pay for any of this stuff. I don't pay for any of the LinkedIn stuff as far as that.
For all the noise and bullshit posts out there, the influencer wannabe posts or whatever, I think as long as it aligns with the thing that you want to do and it aligns with the problem that your customers have, it's still valuable. Because then it's a matter of figuring out how to get it in front of your customers. But if it's the problem your customers have, they're not going to care who wrote it. They're going to care that you thought about it. Right. And they may question you about, hey, you wrote that post about eating, guessing eats margins. Well, tell me about that. And now you better have an opinion.
Right. Well, I think one of the posts I wrote, you sell on net 30, they pay on net LOL.
Right. Yeah. I like that.
And then it was all about, then I had a whole write-up about the importance of your sales process and your invoicing process and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
But this is all new to me because a year ago, I never posted anything. I don't post on Facebook. I don't post anything anywhere. So I'm slowly evolving to where I'm at. And maybe in 6 months, I'll be doing YouTube videos and stuff. I'm not there yet, but it's slowly evolving.
It's interesting, right? I mean, all of the social networks, like a lot of us in our generation, I'll just generically classify us as whatever this is. We look at things like TikTok and go, no. But our customers are there now.
Mm-hmm.
That generation, I don't mean this divisively, but the next generations are using different tools and they see these things from a different perspective, and they need the same things, right? Your 22-year-old CEO, your 25-year-old CEO may have never joined Facebook, may have never joined LinkedIn, but he's CEO of a company. It might be a 5-person company. It might be a 50-person company.
Or they might have had daddy give them the business.
He might be the CEO of the business daddy gave him. But whatever it is, he's still a potential customer.
Sure.
And he's not. They are not yet looking out. So it's up to us to figure out how to come to them and show we can help.
Right.
And
no, you're right.
And it's hard. I mean, I find it very hard. I can't do TikTok. I can't stand it.
I do not see myself doing those kind of reactions videos, with my face, like, oh.
Yep. And I see people that I know that are my age doing stuff like that, and I'm like, but I don't know. If it works,
Yeah.
The ones I don't
Yeah, I've
get
heard-
are the marketing people, because I see some of these people doing their marketing clips, and not to be rude, but they're just. I have a face for radio. I shouldn't be like, if this is your marketing. Nobody's looking at a 70-year-old woman telling me she's going to help me with. I'm not trying to be rude, but I would have a 25-year-old person telling on TikTok, selling
right?
TikTok marketing and social media marketing. I'd have more confidence in my 23-year-old daughter than I would,
Right.
like, you know.
Yeah, and the things that we've learned about doing it in other places, and I mean, radio didn't cross over to TV, TV didn't cross over to the internet, TV didn't cross, TV and radio didn't cross over to or from newspapers. It's always something new, so we have to figure out and learn and experiment about what works in that marketplace. But sometimes finding your niche in that space can be super valuable. I mean, like Instagram, people manage to do text-based content on a picture-based format. I don't get it, but some people find success at it.
Right.
And that's just what their customers end up looking for. The challenge is separating the audience from the customer, right? Because there's a interesting balance between like feeding the algorithm so you get more clicks and more views, right? Your influencer wants views or clicks or whatever, and the business just needs customers. We might get the same traction out of 20 views on LinkedIn that they get out of 100,000 views on Instagram, because of those 20, we only needed one buyer, and out of those 100,000, we only needed one buyer. But which one's useful? My brother's a DJ and dance instructor, and so he does things, in that realm, and he uses those platforms. And he's like, I can't sell dance instruction outside of home territory, right? People aren't going to come to me. I'm not going to go to them. But it's getting wider views means the algorithm pushes him on Instagram and Facebook to local customers. So doing the things that engage that broader audience for funds or whatever means that it still steers him to customers locally. So figuring out, it's a hard problem.
Yeah.
I just take it a day at a time and see what happens.
Here's a question for you. When you're selling on Zoom or Teams, is your setup that you have right now the same setup you would have when you're selling to a customer?
Oh, yes, this is me.
Okay.
100%.
And I'm not critiquing it.
No, I understand.
Because I'm still learning the selling side of virtual selling.
Yeah.
And the book I bought went into a lot more of having more of a production.
Right. And so part of this goes back. So for me personally, right? The old adage of dress one job higher than you're in right now, right? You dress you wear a suit and tie, but you expect that you're going to wear a button-down shirt, no tie, right? And there's a certain point where you just can't go above. But it means you rent an Armani instead of the regular suit you would wear daily or whatever that is. I learned all those rules growing up. My mom was a tailor, so really had to learn those rules, right? We were selling $10,000 shirts. But I also learned that I want to dress for the job I want. And that means I'm only going to show you me.
Right.
I'm not, I gave up on I did. I wore a fucking 3-piece suit to an interview at McDonald's. And I got the job, okay? I didn't get the job at Philo when I was trying to get a job at. But I will never do that again. I will never make that mistake again. But, so for me, this is me this hides my office. I mean, you know, I will reveal here live in the world what my office looks like at the moment. Nope, that's the wrong thing. That's just switching cameras, Dave. Do you even know how to use technology? Come on, Zoom. Adjust background. Keep changing things. Here we go. This is my office.
Right.
I can't fix this. I mean, I can fix this. I could remove computers from it and everything else.
No, I asked the question not from a critiquing standpoint. It's just I'm trying to get better at it. And so I'm trying to see if there's things I'm never wearing a tie. I
Right.
used to wear ties for 20 years as a public accountant.
And
I don't want to wear ties anymore.
if my
so
customers need that, then they're not my customers. That's the way
I just find nobody wears them anymore. I can't
That's
tell
good.
you,
I love it.
so I don't wear them anymore. And you know, I'm just curious because a lot of people sell over the
Right.
internet now, and I'm just trying to get better at it.
Yeah. And I mean,
And
you'll
it's hard.
I think like everything else, you'll get all the views, right? If you ask, you'll get opinions.
Right.
For me, my target market, my audience, it's if they accept me as I am, that's great. But I'm not going to cut my hair. I have been asked, even as an employee, I've been asked to cut my hair, and I was never fired for not cutting it though. So I'm like, you hired
No,
me.
I agree with you. I just don't. Some people build that whole production things with lighting, with much bigger microphones, so it's clearer. You know,
Good audio, good video, but I mean, yours is you have good audio, you have good video. There's not a problem with it. Is there? I think the biggest problems I hear on audio, I would recommend everyone jump into whatever tool it is, grab 2 laptops, grab the one on your desk, turn another computer on somewhere else, right? Or use your phone to be a second viewer in the thing, and have the other one record a session where you're just talking, right?
Right.
Hear how you see what it looks like, hear how you sound, go back and listen to that. Just read something, pick up something, you know, pick up
Right.
a book, or you know, read your latest blog post, whatever it is, so you can hear yourself. And then come back and say, am I happy with that? If I was sitting in that call with a customer, would I be happy with that?
Right.
And tune for that. You only need
Yes.
to tune for that, right?
Yeah.
We're not making, even here, professional production podcasts, right?
No.
We only need a good enough microphone. But that said, a lot of people I talk to have microphones. Their audio setup is just clashing, right? They talk and you hear that sound go kind of clash, clash, clash. And there's too much noise reduction, too many pieces of noise reduction. Usually, either there's too much background noise, so the noise reduction's killing it, or you have multiple layers of noise reduction and they work against each other. So if that were you, I'd be saying, look, yes, you should spend some time on this. But what you have works. The white background, there's a little bit of harsh light on,
I gotta play with this. I'm
But-
still setting this up.
but it's fine. I mean, I cannot get the glare out of my glasses. Nothing I
Right.
can get rid of the glare out of my glasses, except replacing my lenses. And I don't feel like wearing. I gave up on AR coats a long time ago.
Right. Right.
So, and sometimes the glare is better, and sometimes it's not. But I've got one light. I've got another one I turn on sometimes. If I turn them all off, there we go. But that's as simple as that, right? It's just I optimize a little bit, and that's all you need. You're gonna look more professional than most of the engineers and executives and everybody else who didn't spend any time on it.
Right. Right. These are all things a year ago I never gave 1 second of thought to that I'm spending more time on.
Sure.
I know my background's not great. I got to figure the layout better.
I talked to a guy in March of 2020 that his business was lighting and lighting and audio production set up for conferences and you know, he would come into the business venues. So this is Orlando, so we get all sorts of, you know, traffic at the big conference centers and stuff. And he would go in, he would make sure that executives and such are well lit and their microphones work right and they all sound good. And he's like, these were, typically $20,000-$50,000 engagements to come in and do this work. And he was lamenting the death of his industry as lockdown happened. And, all the conferences shut down. And he's like, and I tried to convince him. I'm like, why don't you reach out to those executives who are now sitting on Zoom and coach them through getting a good camera, getting a good microphone? It's good enough, right? And setting up a background. Why don't you do all of this? This is your new job, man. You are an expert at this. They already hired you for this. Go to your event coordinators who were hiring you before and say, let me help your executives who are now sitting at home. And he just refused to. He's like, I can't do it. I'm like, I don't know whether he ever did, but I encouraged very strongly because I thought that's perfect, right? Charge anything. Start at $50. Charge
those and a lot of those people have the money, so they're not
exactly.
They don't care if it's $1,000, $5,000.
Right.
And they're not even going to pay for it. Their companies are going to pay for it. So
and they might not even recognize it yet, unless somebody comes to them and says, "Hey, remember? Here's what it looks like. Which do you prefer?"
Or they just they want guidance and they don't care because their company's getting paid for it. So 5 or 10 grand's meaningless to them. So
yeah, exactly.
They don't even know what they need, so you can sell them anything you want.
Yep. A friend of mine at Netflix, they ran a whole thing, putting together, figuring out the cameras for the entire company, right? They said, now we're fully remote. We are going to make sure we send good cameras and everyone has good audio and good video. This is not an option. This isn't a thing that we're going to set on chance, right? They dedicated a team to it and said, we're going to focus on this. So we bought a bunch of hardware, demoed it out, picked some stuff, and then bought it and sent it to everybody. Because they wanted to make sure everyone had good access to this because it's just as important as anything else.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. One day at a time. I know fractional CFOs that never meet their client. They do everything from their house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they do full video? I mean, I imagine that certainly in the accounting side of things, where remote has always been a large part of the jobs from the tax prep side, right?
When I was in public, everybody came to the office.
Yeah. But independents wouldn't necessarily, like your independent practitioners, they do all their stuff at home, right? At least the one
A sole practitioner, yeah, he probably might do it at home.
Yeah. And so as they've started to maybe pivot into fractional, or something we might consider a fractional CFO type of role, I wonder how much of the old school are still just doing phone calls, or if they've really embraced the tech yet.
I think a lot of embraced the tech.
Yeah.
I think COVID stopped. I think one of the best things that happened is, so we used to have a lot of people that used to come to the office with their tax stuff and want to sit down with you and go over it. And that was a time suck that you had a hard time billing for. And you had all these older people that want to tell you about every little medical ailment they've had, their grandkids and everything. And you listen, but you don't really care.
Right.
So COVID killed all that. So they were forced to mail it in. So it got them used to mailing it in.
Oh, okay.
And then if they wanted to come meet you, you had to tell them there's an extra fee now for in-person meetings.
Right. It allowed you to bill for it.
Right.
Yeah. Gave them a new normal.
But for a lot of people, that was their social outing for the day or the week. We have somewhere to go.
Right. Yep. That's a whole different challenge that we're not getting paid to solve.
No.
Although sometimes with our customers who are lonely, stuck in the thing that they're doing, and they're the only person that gets to think about it, right? We can be that social outing or that.
You're a psychologist many times. Yeah. I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. A lot of times on a customer call, right, they're going to deviate away from whatever it is we need to be talking about into the thing they need to be talking about. And sometimes that's the kids or whatever. But you work with it and you work through it, and like, well, I'm getting paid here, so I don't care.
Plus, I think that builds a better connection sometimes at the right sources.
And it does the same thing. Even if you aren't able to go, I mean, I used to, and I still highly recommend remote engineering teams to get together, right? Once a year. Try to not make it mandatory if you can, because there's a lot of challenges around mandatory in-person events. But the important thing is that you get together somewhere where no one lives. You absolutely do not go where the boss lives. You might, if you go where somebody else lives, you pay for the full room. You don't, you tell them you're going to be with us for this week, just like you're traveling. I don't care that it's 30 minutes across town. You're here, you know? And that's a real challenge when it's the boss, because the boss is like, oh, I want to go home. But if you
the
go
real boss
somewhere-
is at home.
yeah, exactly. But which means that you're losing out on that piece, right?
Right.
So get the team together, be in person, talk about all the things outside of just work, right? And if you do that once for a team, but they go back, and now all of that trust, and especially if you can get integration between multiple teams in an organization, that
Right.
allows for way better communication when you get home. It really is an important thing. Working around it, for the COVID years, we had to figure out how to do it around it, but it's still a super valuable piece. It's way more valuable than the cost.
Yeah. Well, the Wall Street Journal wrote an article last week that said companies are going back to in-person offices. More and more companies are going back to not hybrid, not work remote. They're telling you to go back to work.
Because they have real estate they want to pay for.
And they've also have stats, and take it for what you want, that people aren't as productive.
It's both ways. I think the biggest problem that we have is that management doesn't know how to manage remote workers.
Right.
And so they think there's a lack of productivity. End of the day, we really don't know how to manage worker productivity, and across, not in any general sense, across any kind of sitting at a desk, white collar work.
Right.
We make guesses at it, and most of those are very poor guesses. And a lot of the things that we measure for productivity is ass in seat.
Right. Doesn't mean shit.
And we can't measure.
Oh, he moves his mouse. Every
right.
5 seconds, he moves his mouse.
We have dedicated hardware now that plugs in to be your mouse that will just keep moving it. I mean, I used software not for that purpose, but I had a client machine that the screensaver would keep kicking in, and every time the screensaver would kick in, because of their corporate policies, the remote desktop would click out. So I connected to it through a remote desktop, and so I ended up having to use a mouse jiggler to keep the mouse moving, so the screensaver wouldn't kick in and kick me out.
Right.
But there's hardware now that it's a mouse jiggler, plugs in, and it's just a 1 pixel mouse jiggler.
I still believe if you can do it right, hybrid works. Depending on the job, remote works, but I think it depends on the job too.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It really does depend on the job. There are some types of jobs, some types of teams that need the social time, the social aspect. The problems have historically been that we tended to overlap the teams that can't work with the social aspect and the teams that require the social aspect in the same cube farms.
Right.
As we all know, having worked next to sales teams.
Exactly.
And we're trying to do engineering work here. We have to think. We need quiet time. We got to flow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, it's been good. We didn't get a lot of people today, but still we got.
No, it was good. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for the insight.
Anything else before we wrap up?
No.
Things on your mind?
Oh, no, all good.
Cool. Awesome. Well, it's been a good hour, and
And I'll see you guys next Monday.
so yeah, see you
Yeah.
next Monday then.
See you.
Thanks,
Take
Diego.
care.
Thanks, Ben.
Bye bye.